I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Yep, this pretty much says it all. The Democrats could not possibly look more defeated, more deflated, more despondent than they do right now. How many glasses of Chardonnay do you think were behind that filming? Well, no matter. We now know that internal polling showed that Kamala was never at any point in the race in the lead. The polls pushed by the legacy media were pure lies, pure propaganda. And now even Democrat operatives are admitting that the loss on November 5th was far worse than they thought. They have officially lost the culture. Wait until you see this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, celebrating the dawning of a new golden age with you every single day. So if you want to keep up with all the happenings involved with the rise of a new conservative age, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, we often talk about how we can maintain and build up the conservative way of life. And one crucial aspect of that is your routine. Staying strong physically and mentally isn't just about living longer. It's about living better. Now, I partnered with Beam because they're a health and wellness company that's put in the time and rigorous research to craft science-backed solutions that truly optimize every system in your body from the moment you wake up until you lay your head down to sleep. More specifically, I've been using Beam Dream for a while now, and it's completely changed the way I sleep. I used to toss and turn while my mind raced at night. But since taking Dream, gang, I fall asleep so much faster and even sleep all throughout the night. It's an absolute game changer. Beam Dream is made with the highest quality sleep-promoting ingredients to help you unwind and get the deep sleep you need and deserve. It's become really a nightly ritual of mine that I look forward to each and every day. Plus, I never wake up feeling groggy the next morning. Sometimes I even wake up before my alarm, which is something I never used to do. I have the best deal I've ever had with Beam. So now's your time to give Dream a try. Shop early access to Beam's Black Friday sale and get up to 50% off site-wide for limited time. That's right, half off. Don't miss out on this offer. Click the QR code on the screen or use the link below to propel your wellness journey into the next stage today. It's now being widely admitted that Kamala Harris's internal polling never, at any point ever, had her in the lead over Donald Trump in the 2024 election. Now, we knew this. We knew that if you've been part of this channel, you would have known that. We reported to you back in September and October that internal polling from the Harris campaign did get leaked, and it found that she was behind Trump in a number of the swing states, most particularly Wisconsin, where even their incumbent Democrat, Senator Baldwin, sounded the alarm that she was about to go down with Kamala. Their own internal polling had her up only within the margin of error over her Republican opponent, Hoovdy, and that's because Kamala was losing. Kamala was dragging Baldwin down, and the same was coming out of the key swing state of Pennsylvania. Kamala was losing Pennsylvania by 3 points or so. There were several internal polls that showed Trump up by 2 or 3 in Michigan as well. And of course, all the internal polling, both Trump's internal polling and Kamala's internal polling, showed that Trump was going to sweep the Sun Belt states of Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina. It wasn't even competitive by mid-October. Kamala's only hope was winning all 3 blue wall states, and her own internal polling showed that was simply not going to happen. We reported that to you back in October. And yet, what were we hearing from every single legacy media outlet every single day? Take a look.
good Sunday morning. We begin with our brand new NBC News poll and the headline. Vice President Harris is leading former President Trump nationally by 5 points, 49 to 44% among registered voters. That is within the margin of error. But it's a shift from our last poll in July, when Mr. Trump led President Biden by 2 points before Biden's exit from the race.
Our latest poll with Ipsos shows Harris up 52-46 among likely voters. That's basically where the race was before the Democratic convention. It's still there now. That is better than President Biden was looking when he exited the race a couple weeks back, when he was trailing nationally and in the major battlegrounds. Our 538 polling average now has Harris up slightly, but just slightly, in 6 of the 7 battleground states. This remains pretty close to a toss-up as we enter this critical stretch, George.
So there you have it. They were hedging their bets. They were claiming, well, the race is still close. It's too close to call. All the while showing Harris with a freaking 4 to 6 point national lead. Now, what we now know is that none of that was ever true. The legacy media pushed polls, response bias polls, that were biased solidly on the side of the Democrats, and they did it for months. And then they have the goal to call us the purveyors of misinformation. I mean, talk about projection. Unfortunately, reality is starting to hit some of them square in the face. Here's the raging Cajun himself, Democrat political strategist James Carville.
And let me tell you another huge error this made, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't. Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying, I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not. And there were people that worked in the White House that were protesting because they didn't like the president's policy in Gaza. Well, then get the out of the White House.
Well, somebody's suffering a meltdown there. And who could blame him? Oh, but keep in mind, even Carville was playing games before the election. He won't tell you that there, but we'll be happy to remind him of this. Yo, Jimmy, this you? Did you write this for the New York Times back in late October, just a couple of weeks before the election? Look at that headline. 3 reasons I'm Sutton. This is Jimmy, right? 3 reasons I'm Sutton. Kamala Harris will win. 3 reasons I'm Sutton. Kamala Harris will win. Well, which is it, Jimmy? Were you really certain and therefore colossally wrong, duped, like everyone else you're blaming right now? Or were you lying? Were you duped or were you dubious? Were you lying right along with the legacy media complex in the lead up to the election? Again, this is so key for all of us to understand and appreciate the historical moment we're in right now. The legacy media establishment uniformly and unanimously pushed a narrative that this wasn't merely a competitive race, but this was Kamala's race to lose. She was up in virtually all the polls that they pushed. They even went so far as to push the utterly absurd Ann Seltzer Des Moines Register poll that had Kamala Harris winning Iowa by 3 the weekend before the election. Freaking Iowa. Harris didn't spend a dime in Iowa, because she knew she was going to lose it by double digits, which she did. And yet the legacy media actually pushed this clearly fabricated, fraudulent poll rather than call it out for the farce that it was, which is what they're supposed to do. If you're supposed to be in the business of communicating facts, truth, then you're supposed to call out farces when you see them. But they didn't. They didn't because they're not about news. They're about narrative. And the poll, despite its absolute absurdity that poll fit within the narrative that they had been promoting for months. Trump's campaign is in a tailspin. Trump is falling apart. All as Kamala is surging. A blue wave was going to finally sweep across the nation and put the final nail in Trump's political coffin. Again, just as a reminder, this was the crap that we were daily subject to.
So you've been out there campaigning with Kamala Harris. How's it looking? Is she going to win?
I think so, for sure. I mean, when you go to one of her campaigns, she is just a dynamic speaker. I mean, the crowd is engaged. The energy is off the charts. I mean, if that's any indication, she's going to win easily.
Yeah, if you don't know, that is Mark Cuban slowly morphing into Rachel Maddow. Talk about a colossal fall. But everywhere you looked, the legacy media was peddling the same narrative. Not news, narrative. Trump's struggling. Trump's getting more and more desperate. The walls are closing in on Trump. All the while, Kamala was absolutely crushing it. Her rallies were standing room only. Oh, she's Obama 2.0. She's the answer to all of our woke prayers. And of course, none of it was true. None of it was real. None of it. And now, as it turns out, we now know no one in the Harris campaign believed any of it. And here's the real key to this. To me, this is the real key to this. Neither did anyone in the legacy media. They lied. They looked into that camera and like Joe Scarborough, coach, the best Biden ever, coach. You believe the authenticity of the Hunter Biden laptop. History is going to embarrass you. They look straight at Rachel Maddow. They look straight into that camera and they knowingly lie to you. How else do you explain CBS News, 60 Minutes, actually editing one of Kamala's answers in an interview because it was so cringe-worthily bad?
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Now, just ask yourself, do you think they would ever have done anything even remotely like that had Trump given a comparably incompetent answer? Of course not. And it's because they don't peddle news, they peddle narrative. They don't peddle news, they peddle narrative. What you just saw there in that edit was an admission that the legacy media knew she was losing. And they did everything they possibly could, hand in hand with the Democrat Party, to try desperately to manipulate and influence public opinion in the Democrats' direction. Now, here's the one thing I will grant the Democrats post-mortem here, and I'm going back to James Carville. I'm going to circle back, Psaki, to James Carville there. The Raging Cajun, who, again, remember, was either delusional or dubious when it came to that op-ed he wrote for the New York Times 2 weeks before the election. Regardless, he is right now in his assessment that the woke left, the progressive left, has definitely lost the culture war. This is absolutely key. They didn't just lose a candidate, they lost a culture. The country has resoundingly rejected the woke left as of November the 5th. And I did a video on this the other day that you'll want to check out. I did a deep dive on how corporations are running away from wokeness as fast as they possibly can. Perhaps the single biggest loser besides Kamala on November the 5th was the woke celebrity class of Hollywood itself. I mean, think about it. This election pitted the sum total of the complete and up until now, awesome power of Hollywood against middle America, against your average working class voter. So from Oprah to Beyonce, from Springsteen to Swift, every single celebrity endorsement was amassed, put forward to the country. And what happened? It either fell flat or provoked the opposite effect. It provoked a boomerang effect. There have been a number of articles written of late on what many are calling the death of the celebrity, the death of celebrity culture. November 5th confirmed what we already knew in many respects. We are experiencing the dramatic demise of the Hollywood celebrity and the progressive wokeness that they've been promoting for years now. Both are really dead. No one is going to the movies anymore. Hollywood is literally hemorrhaging money as we speak. Nobody's buying products from woke companies anymore. Nobody's giving the woke progressive liberal the time of day anymore. Carville is absolutely right about that. And so as the Democrats slowly come to terms with the loss, not merely of a candidate, but of an entire culture, we'll have to see how they plan on recovering and recouping from all of this. Needless to say, thus far, from what I'm seeing, things don't look so good.